Welcome back to Hoops HD, everybody. It is Tuesday, November 25th. We don't do shows on Tuesdays, Griggs.
Yeah, a little bit of
Oh, Championship Week Video Notebook.
yeah, championship week video notebook. The only time we ever do shows on Tuesday. A little bit early this year though, to be
Yeah.
doing this show.
Feast Week Video Notebook.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is.
Uh,
So, well,
how about
it's
Under the Radar?
under the radar. A little bit of a scheduling change or a programming change due to holiday travel and commitments and court dates and things like that. So, having to do it on Tuesday.
Yeah. This is our Under the Radar show where we talk about all the teams that are below the radar.
Yep.
By that we mean the 22 conferences that are not considered the multi-bid leagues, the 22 conferences that we don't handle on the Monday night Hoops HD report. So no
Right.
Power Four conferences, no Big East. We don't discuss the American, the Mountain West, the A10, or the West Coast Conference here. Handle those all in our Monday night shows.
Yes,
Every other
although the
conference is,
American is making a strong push to be included in this show.
yeah, they may join in before the end of the season. And the Mountain West and the A10 aren't that far behind. I don't know. We may have a huge show next year because the West Coast
Yeah,
Conference may be on its way here too, with Gonzaga
yeah,
moving out after this season. But for now, we've got 22 conferences in this event in this show, and we just go through them all in alphabetical order. All the teams in alphabetical order. We'll start
yeah.
with
All the teams.
Abilene Christian to
Yeah,
Youngstown State. We will handle them all.
yeah. It is a long show we've got for you tonight. So Abilene Christian out of the,
They, they,
Southland
they,
here.
they actually got their butts kicked by Bill and Mary tonight.
Yeah, our good friend Rocco on the call, making another like just crazy entrance to the game. I think you were there. He drove his monster truck right into the arena.
Yeah, I don't actually have that video queued up for here to put it on the screen for the show, but find Griggs' account on X. Take a look. He actually drove a monster truck into the arena tonight.
Yes.
It was very
Wow.
impressive.
Yeah,
Uh,
it was unbelievable.
what the heck are we doing here? How about a feature conference though?
Yeah.
Okay. We do the conferences in alphabetical order. That's what I was trying to say earlier. We start with a feature conference, and tonight I thought we'd start out in the Mid American Conference, the MAC. Uh, Notable for one reason that one of the AP voters actually gave Buffalo a number 25 in the nation ranking. They are the first under the radar school to get ranked in any polls to get a vote for any polls all season. Not ranked, but a vote,
Um,
a single vote.
yes, the league a little bit upside down, at least from my take. I thought Ohio would be one of the favorites. They weren't my pick to win it, but they were one of my favorites to contend for it. And Buffalo was not just last. I think I had them finishing 14th. Yet here they are at 6-0. They do have a win at DePaul. I think voting for them is a little bit crazy.
They beat what should be. I mean, I know Vermont's been struggling in their event. We'll get to that in a few minutes here,
Yeah.
but Vermont should win the America East. To win at DePaul. I honestly, Griggs, I think Buffalo has looked like the best team in the conference so far. I'm
Well,
gonna
they've
or
certainly
second best maybe.
Yeah, they've certainly exceeded my expectations. I didn't think they'd win 6 games all year, and you start to look at how they've played and who they've beaten. And I know that the sorting tool that we're using is the J&G.
Yes.
Still
Until next
hasn't
week,
quite.
we'll have Nets
Yeah,
next week. By the way.
yeah, we'll have the net next week, but it's still sort of early, and there's still sort of like a hybrid of last season being mixed in with this year. But Southern Miss, a pretty good team. They've looked good. Buffalo beat them. VMI hard to play against. Buffalo beat them. Green Bay is easy to beat, and Buffalo beat them.
Great. Well, Green Bay's had some life this week. They've won
Yeah,
a
they
couple
have.
games this week.
Yeah,
And how about this? They're shooting 39.3% as a team from 3-point range. That's almost
yeah,
the top 30 in the nation. Uh,
right. And
that they can shoot from the outside, and that's dangerous against anybody.
yeah, and you look at their next 2 games. Canisius, I just don't
It's
think.
awful.
I mean, yeah, that's basically a D2 opponent, even though it's on the road. But St. Bonaventure at home, tall order. Bonnie's a pretty good team. But you start to go down the schedule, and you're like, this team could really have a big head of steam built up going in the conference play.
I mean, there's not a lot of losses here, And then we go
Yeah.
back to the rest of the conference standings, and some of the teams we thought would be really good have really underperformed. I mean, look at
Yeah.
Ohio at 1 on
Oh,
1 and
yeah.
6 out of the season. They just lost today. They got blown out by Loyola Marymount, and they to finish in last place of that event that they were in, fourth
Yeah,
place.
real disappointing for, at least from the start for that team. It doesn't really. It just goes to show you, Chad, that like when so many teams have to rebuild their rosters, you can look at their pieces and tell whether or not they have good pieces. And Ohio did, but will the pieces fit together? They're not. Uh, I mean, how could you say that they were, given how they've been playing? I like this. I know we're going through this. Let's talk about the teams we do like. I love this Miami, Ohio team. They were
That's
my
why I
pick
said
to win it
second.
all.
That's why I
Yeah.
said second best maybe for Buffalo because I do agree with you that this Miami Ohio team is. They haven't played anything really. They've played a worse schedule than Buffalo so far.
Yeah,
Quite
they
honestly.
have. Not real impressive. I was pretty excited about their Old Dominion win. That was because I thought Old Dominion was better than what they've turned out to be so far. So not really tested. Greensboro coming up in their event could be pretty good. Going to Asheville, that could be tough. Eastern Kentucky's been disappointing. I think they'll blow out Wright State. This is another team that
Uh,
might have just one loss or zero going in the conference play.
and coming up, they got Indiana at home coming up on December 2nd.
Yeah, I mean, that
Well,
is
at least
crazy.
the east side of Indiana University.
Yeah,
That's a part of
IU
Indiana.
going to Mullet Hall or whatever the place that's called.
Indiana University East.
Yes,
Uh,
just the eastern part of the camp. I guess they're doing a split squad, sort of like spring
so,
training.
so is it like a half court game? They just the east
Yeah,
side of the court as opposed to the west side.
yeah. But this is a team to watch for. As far as who's done the most, it's probably Akron. Is that who's got the best profile, do you think?
I think it's right there.
It's,
They have the win over Iona,
yeah.
and the Evansville and the Iona wins so far to take their
Yeah,
event. Take their event. That's a little hard where they won already.
Yeah, and some of these teams have underperformed early. Princeton is normally better than what they've shown, and that might age well. James Madison might start to get their footing. Um,
Yale's an excellent team, and
you
while
know,
they lost the game, it was a hell of a
yeah,
game.
that was a great game. It
Actually,
was a
that
really
was the
exciting
champion.
game.
Yeah, that was the
Yeah,
final game of that. They didn't win that event. They finished second place in that event.
right.
Sorry,
Yeah,
behind Yale. Um, yeah, but I think there's again, and we're not again. There's a few stories we haven't discussed. It. We liked Toledo heading into the season. We liked Bowling Green heading into
yeah,
the
we did.
season. So
Yeah,
maybe there's plenty of time, especially with these conferences. I would note Toledo had that real nice win yesterday over Troy to take
yeah.
over Troy in their. I guess that was the first round of their event.
Hmm.
I don't know. These events all run into. I think that's the first round. They're playing the second game tomorrow. But uh, this Troy team we're going to be talking about when we get to the Sun Belt. They have been a hell of a fun team to watch so far this season, and to
Oh
go and
my
beat
God.
them on a neutral floor is big.
Yeah, and especially after the high level that we saw Troy play at out on their road trip. Well, all four games, I guess, but particularly the last two where they beat San Diego State and nearly beat USC. And not to take anything away from Toledo, but was Troy a little bit out of gas in that game? They may have been. Sometimes when you lose in triple overtime, it's hard to get your motor running in the very next
Yeah. They
game.
had then they had to go all the way down to Fort Myers, Florida for this event. They will be playing. They do have today off. Wednesday, Toledo will be playing Belmont tomorrow in the championship game of that event. Troy gets St. Francis, so that's like a D3
Yeah,
school.
which is like having a team up. And when you say like a D3 school, they're transitioning down to D3.
Yeah, they may be
So
quite literally a D3 school.
yeah,
Uh,
quite
so
literally.
that Toledo versus TBD there, that is Belmont. Just didn't
Yeah.
quite make the final update here. The rest of the upcoming games here, though, uh, Miami, Ohio gets Greensboro. Buffalo gets Bucknell and Canisius. We kind of discussed some of those Buffalo games already.
Hmm.
Bowling Green has to go to K-State on Monday. It might be over their heads a little bit on that one.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah,
Uh,
K-State in over their heads at the moment, at least the last I saw.
uh, K-State is?
That's
K-State
on the radar.
is
Aren't they
oh,
getting
okay.
drilled by
On the
Yeah,
radar. They're down at
that's on
Justin.
the radar. Yeah.
Uh, let's jump over to the America East here, and it was not a very good week for the America East as they
God.
failed to pick up a D1 win other than UMBC's exciting 50-point win over Notre Dame last night.
Yeah, Notre Dame, you got to wonder. I know that this isn't on the radar. Who is doing their scheduling? I don't know if this was an oversight or if they just got overly ambitious. It's exciting to get to go to UMBC, Baltimore, lovely city. But playing two games in one day in two different cities. That
Uh,
I mean, wow.
yeah, Griggs, I think the big story here is Vermont went into this eight-team ESPN events, and we thought they had a shot to make some noise in it. They lose to Liberty
Yeah,
on their opening day. They get blown out by Vermont today. They're going to play the loser of Temple Princeton now in the seventh place game tomorrow.
yeah. Well,
Very
who blew them
disappointing,
out?
but Rhode Island blew them out by
Rhodey blew them out.
15
Yeah.
points. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So not a good showing in this event by Vermont, but as I've stressed with Vermont, and I'll keep stressing, this is a team that historically has not done much at this time of the season and comes together later on in the year. And I really think under John Becker here that this team will come together by the time we get to conference play.
Well, I think so too. I've always loved this conference. It was really exciting last year. I know you got Vermont's profile pulled up there. And you're right. It's a little disappointing compared to what we were kind of expecting. But if you go back and look at the rest of the league, and I mean, I don't want to beat up on it too much, but okay, UMBC is the first place. UMBC, NJIT right there. These are two teams that are not expected to be good this year and probably won't be. And then you have Maine, who is terrible, and Lowell, who is historically terrible, and Bryant, who's 1-5. Binghamton's really bad. New Hampshire, they got, I mean, even at Vermont has still outperformed everybody as bad as they've been.
I guess you could argue NJIT 3D1 wins to lead the conference, but yeah, no, it's been it has not been good. Vermont, as we mentioned, will get either Temple or Princeton tomorrow,
Yeah.
and they got Yale. They're going to be hosting Yale on Sunday, in a game that's actually worth circling, despite the fact that Yale is way outperformed Vermont so far this season.
Yeah.
At Vermont, I think it's a game worth watching.
Yeah.
Let's keep things rolling here. Over to the ASUN Conference.
Hmm.
ASUN Conference, Griggs, and we've got Florida Gulf Coast, who, as we record this, is putting the finishing touches in overtime on a win over Rice in a little event that they're hosting. So
Hmm.
now that'll be their fourth D1 win already.
Yeah, and looking a lot better than most of the rest of the league. Eastern Kentucky is who I liked to win the league. Their next D1 win will be their first. And I know that as far as the postseason goes, they're not eligible for it. But I think, Chad, one of the bigger stories might be West Georgia, a second-year transitioning team, going 3-3 against D1 already. And not only that, but when you look at like how badly some of the rest of the league smells, they're going to win some games in conference too.
Uh, they could. Let's pull up their profile. I think it's the first time I show we've ever pulled up a West Georgia
Yeah,
profile. Upstate win at Tennessee Tech. That's just a
yeah,
true road win. Win over Citadel, and their losses are all to power conference teams.
yeah. And they didn't do bad against Nebraska.
Yeah. So I'm with you. This West Georgia team. Now this year the ASUN did change the format. All 12 teams will be in the conference tournament. They'd only taken the top 10 the last few years. Uh, but West Georgia will be in that conference tournament. But they could end up with a top seed as the way things are going right now.
Yeah. And I don't know what's wrong with, I mean, and North Alabama is still, I still think that they might get their motors started. Queens is a fun team to watch. Too bad Rocco's not here to tell us about their eighth, the third and fourth guys coming off their bench. But the biggest surprise to me, kind of in a bad way, is Eastern Kentucky. I liked their roster, and I like their coach. I think AW does a good job. I was just expecting more from them than what they've done so far, which is nothing.
Well, they played Vanderbilt and can't not expecting that. Western Kentucky's been pretty good. Kent State is a decent team.
Yeah,
A home loss to Mercer is the only thing that I think is really bad there. That may not be awful at the end of the day.
yeah. But they went
Uh,
up to Northern Kentucky, didn't get the win.
let's see what they do against Wofford in this next game coming up here. That could be.
Yeah, Wofford, a hell of an off season. I don't know if we have time for that, but wow.
Um, Upcoming games this week here involving the conference. There's a couple games going on as we record this as well. But what do we have? Queens at Virginia. They might be in over their head. But
Yeah, I get a little
Griggs,
bit money.
I'm actually going to circle a game for you if we could even find it here. There it is, Saturday, Central Arkansas at East Tennessee State. So why am I circling that?
Why are you circling
I'm going to go back a screen here. You saw up here, the ASUN SoCon Challenge has been going on. It is a 19-game challenge.
that?
It
Okay.
is tied 9-9 after 18 games. This is game number 19. This will determine conference supremacy between the ASUN and the SoCon. Central Arkansas at East Tennessee State.
This is why you need to watch this show. I'm on this show, and I didn't know that.
This is the game. This is
That
going to
is
be the
the
number
game
one
that will
highlighted game on.
decide the challenge. Yes. If I forget to highlight that Saturday, make sure you edit it and put that at the very top.
I'll actually be out of town, so I don't know if I can, but we'll figure it out here.
Yeah.
Uh, we'll get Salika to edit it for us. He's watching, I'm
Yeah.
sure. Uh,
Mm.
let's jump over to the Big Sky Conference. How about Northern Colorado so far?
Oh God. Really, I thought they'd be good. I didn't know that they'd be this good. Their only loss was a bit of a head scratcher, but it was hardly a bad loss, a 1 point loss against St. Thomas. But going on the road to Portland and Pepperdine and getting those wins, another win against Cal State Fullerton. You know what they don't have, Chad? A win that isn't away from home. And that's one of the things that's kind of impressed me. Not that those teams are great, but it's still hard to go like they haven't played a home game against the
Uh,
D1 team.
I see two home games against Front Range-esque rivals
Oh,
of
against
Colorado
front
College
range
and
teams,
Colorado
yes.
Christian. So I don't know
Yeah.
what you're talking about, Griggs.
Yeah.
And speaking about keeping it in Colorado, look, their next two games at Air Force and home against Regis.
More, yeah. That Air Force game, a full-fledged front range game. Air Force not doing awful so far.
And there they got Denver, they got at Colorado. They're playing a
Yeah.
fair amount of front range games this year. We'll
Yeah.
get to the front range at the end of
I
the
was
show.
starting to wonder, did they bring the whole thing back? No, they don't have Colorado State. Okay.
They don't have Wyoming on there either.
Okay. Yeah.
But they play a fair number of them. I
Hmm.
don't know that there's much that I'm really willing to talk about quite at this point of the season, other than that, from at least from what we've seen over the last week or so here.
Yeah. Idaho's season opening win at Wazoo is not
Yes.
aging like you thought it would. Still a decent, I mean, still a big win in a rivalry game, but yeah, there isn't much here. The Montanas, I think, are pretty good, probably better than what they've shown so far. But I think Northern Colorado is the story.
All right, let's take a quick. What do we have? The upcoming schedule here in the conference. We mentioned that Northern Colorado Air Force game. That may be the game to circle here.
Yeah, probably
Sam,
is. Montana State going to Utah State. Montana State's had some good showings. I don't think they're going to have a good showing that day. Utah State is, as much as Joby doesn't want to admit it, they're damn good.
what else we got there? Sacramento State going to Baylor.
Yeah, e- enjoy the trip.
Uh,
Get some brisket.
Big South Conference. Here we go. We've got High Point now. It's 6-1.
Yeah,
Continuing to do what they do. And I think this, they did have that strange loss at UAB, uh, but I still think this is one of the best teams in the country among these under the radar schools.
it definitely is. We discussed that loss last week, and I was expecting them to win that game, and I was kind of surprised. Not that they didn't win, but that it wasn't particularly close. But I just think they had kind of an off day and had it against a team that they couldn't beat while having an off day. When you look at the rest of the schedule, Southern Illinois is kind of good, but they get them at home. I think that with the talent, with the pieces they have, with the way we've seen them play so far, they might they might win out. They really might.
Uh,
Who's going to beat them?
I don't look at the rest of this conference. I don't know who's going to, I have no idea who's going to beat them in this conference. You could actually, there is a mistake on the screen here. UNC Asheville is actually 2-4, not 3-3. That game tonight, I wasn't able to get that score corrected. They actually, I was watching a lot of that game, believe it or not, between
Yeah.
Asheville and Tennessee State. Final play of the game, Tennessee State missed the three-pointer that would have won it. but was fouled on the play and hit the free throws and won that game. So
Yeah.
tough loss at home for Asheville tonight.
Yeah, it was. One of the teams that's shown signs of life is Winthrop.
How about some show some life right now as we record this, Griggs,
Right,
at
yeah.
halftime?
Leading Nebraska, they went to Arkansas and nearly pulled that game out. I know we talked about that a week ago, but they've looked really good and they've looked good against teams that are hard to beat. So I guess if there's anybody else out other than High Point, it might be Winthrop.
I think it definitely is Winthrop, and if they win this game tonight, and I don't know that they're actually going to be able to hold on for the second half of this game, but
Yeah,
they're definitely getting a lot more attention. Rest of the upcoming
yeah,
schedule this week. Look at that. Notre Dame, another road game against an under the radar school.
my
Griggs at
God,
Radford.
yeah. Notre Dame just playing a crazy schedule this year.
Uh, that's Winthrop at Long Island is a very interesting game coming up. It's still a week away, but Long Island, the
Yeah.
best team in the NEC, hosting a Winthrop team that we're just sitting here praising. That could be an interesting under the radar game.
Yeah, it really is with Long Island being probably one of the better teams in the NEC. We'll get to the NEC later. There is a team other than them worth discussing.
Uh,
Um,
Big West Conference, and how about the Tritons of UC San Diego and 10-point win over Bradley today? Game wasn't even on TV anywhere, but trust me, they beat Bradley by 10 today to now go to 6-0.
and I mean, you got to applaud this program, not just for the season they're having, but for what they've done since transitioning up. They're a recent transition team. They were in the NCAA tournament a year ago. They nearly won a game in the round of 64. Like everyone else, they got gutted, but here they are 6-0 and, doing it both at home and on the road, beating Temple, going to Fresno. The Fresno State game when it happened didn't excite me that much, but Fresno's not what Fresno typically is this year. That was a pretty good win.
Yep. And what do they got next? That game was televised today. It was a different game that was televised, but that game was
Yeah, yeah, it
televised
was
today.
on. It was on.
Okay, I didn't watch it though. They play Towson next though. That is
Yeah, and that's going to be a real good one. Townsend with a big win today over
yes.
Liberty.
Uh, that's probably the main story here. Maybe the other story, maybe UC Irvine just having trouble winning games. Uh,
Yeah,
I think I expected more out of this Irvine team.
I did. I certainly
Uh,
did. And they're
I
playing
mean,
right now. I don't have it on because I don't have a free screen, but I
they're
think they're
they're
losing.
they're down 5 to New Mexico State. We can see it down there in the highlight at the bottom.
Yeah.
Those games in italics are games that are ongoing as we record, so you can all know exactly what time we're recording this.
Hmm.
Uh, Overtime loss at home to Northern Iowa. I still think this is going to be a good UC Irvine team. I think they've
I think
had
so too.
tough luck losses so far. They should be there at the end of the day.
I agree with that.
Uh, and,
That's exactly how I would sum it up.
and I got to give a shout out to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Arizona State is a lot better than we thought they were so far, at least on the season.
Yeah, they are.
Uh, they won a tough game at Hawaii. I thought Hawaii would win that game,
I did too.
uh, but then they beat Hawaii Pacific, Riggs. I mean,
They did.
that's not easy to do.
It's not easy to
Boy,
do, and they
Boise
had a
State cannot
difficult
do it.
time doing it. Hawaii Pacific was tied with about 10 minutes to go in that game.
Uh, Rest of the upcoming games this week, it's UC San Diego Towson, as we mentioned. That's the championship game in that event there. Don't know what else we're really circling. Irvine at San Jose State. UC San Diego at Nevada. That's actually a very interesting game there next Tuesday.
That one is interesting. Nevada a little bit disappointing this year, but still, you think that they would be a level above under the radar. But UC San Diego, the way they've been playing, I think they can go there and beat them.
Over to the CAA.
Yeah.
And
And
first off,
there's
maybe
that Towson team that we sort of alluded to earlier.
let's start with them here. This Towson team who beat Liberty, followed that up today with the win over Rhode Island, and
Yeah.
they will be getting that UC San Diego game team tomorrow in the championship game of this event. And uh,
And this
I
is
think
suddenly,
whoever wins that game, they could be our number one team and under the radar top 10 by next week.
Yeah, they really could be. And this has the makings of a pretty solid profile, at least early on. Liberty, really good, beat them on a neutral floor. Rhodey showed that they've had some good games, real good game. Beat Yale. Rhodey's had some big wins. Towson beat them. The loss at Houston is, while Houston did just lose to Tennessee, it's still a game that was a money game. The one that sort of like was a little bit of a head scratcher, especially since James Madison had not been playing all that well, was that particular loss. But old CAA rivals.
This is mind-boggling, Griggs. Look what's happening on December 19th. They're hosting Notre Dame.
Yeah, Notre Dame all over. Okay,
I gotta tell you, Notre
so
Dame is the number one strength of schedule in the nation at this point.
okay, I know about this school, and there's someone watching that I know that is familiar with Notre Dame, Maryland. Its name is the College of Notre Dame of Maryland, and if you take the acronym of that, it is condom. So,
Oh God.
and that is how Loyola, Maryland, which is its sister school, its institution refers to that particular place, condom.
Oh, where do we lose the show? It's only the two of us tonight, too.
So, but condom is all over the damn place. I mean,
I,
they're
I,
they're they're biblical studies. How many D1 opponents or non-D1 teams allowed to play?
my apologies to all these great Notre Dame, Maryland people out there. Um, I don't. Uh, how about Bill and Mary though? I think they are worth addressing. Wins over UTEP and Abilene
Yes,
Christian already in the event that our good friend Rocco Miller is out there covering down in Jacksonville, looking really good
yes,
at that event. I mean, they crushed Abilene today. I thought that'd be a close game.
yeah, they did, and looking good. Some unfortunate news from Bill and Mary. They lost a key player. Rocco tweeted about it earlier. If I were
Ugh.
prepared, I'd have that tweet in front of me, but I don't seem to have it. It should populate in the injuries. It just came down
Yeah,
today.
if it just came down, it may not be even be updated for our
Yeah,
screen yet. We tend
and
to
and I don't know what his status is. I do think that they expect to get him back, but to win without him today, the way they won without him, I thought William and Mary would be one of the more fun teams coming into the year, but they are even better than what I thought they'd be. They're actually having a really good year.
I am going to try to get information
Yeah,
on that William and Mary injury. It is guard Kyle Pulliam. He was taken to the
yeah.
hospital, but it looks like it was just for stitches. So that could be really
Okay.
good news for them if it was just some type of cut. Stitch him
Yeah.
up, throw him back out there, right?
Right. Yeah. That's what we do with each other here at Hoops HD. Never miss a podcast.
Upcoming schedule. What are you looking at here, Griggs?
Well,
Besides Towers in San Diego tomorrow.
yeah. Well, predominantly Towson. How about Old Dominion and William and Mary, an old CAA rivalry game there? Uh,
How about this one?
as much as I love the CAA, yeah.
Belmont to Charleston also is something maybe
Yeah,
worth keeping an eye on.
Charleston's so riddled with injuries. Chris Mack just can't seem to get it going. I don't know how deep into their bench they're having to go. And I don't know what the long-term prospects of that are, but that explains their slow start.
All right, let's keep things rolling here over to Conference USA. Well, we were talking a little bit about this Liberty team. You want to start there? They did. Uh, what, are they playing right now?
No,
What's this?
they lost to Towson
They lost to
earlier
Towson. I'm
today.
sorry.
Very
Yes,
very
they
close game.
Beat Vermont, lost to Towson. Not. I don't know that their final opponent has been decided. I think it will. Uh,
Yeah. That game, yeah, that I think that other game is still going on.
oh, okay, hold on here. Liberty will be playing Bradley tomorrow. Thank you.
Okay, and
Okay,
they should win that one.
in their
But if
third
you
place
pull,
game.
yeah, if you pull them up here, we've always been big, or at least I have big on Liberty and discussing that they might be one of the under the radar teams that could make a run at the bubble. One of the problems they're going to have is such a small margin for error given their schedule. They do go to Dayton. That would be massive. They
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 go to
do have some,
NC. They go to
yeah.
NC State, who is beatable now from what we saw.
Yeah. And if they can get one of those and then hold serve throughout conference and win it decisively, the committee might select them, but they can't afford to stub their toe again. And the thing about it, this is what makes it so hard, that this is a really good Townsend team. Like that was not an easy team to beat. But what do I always say, Chad? Let's see if you can remember. And it's not easy to get to the tournament. You have to do things that are hard to do in order to get there.
Yes, I would agree with that. You do have to do hard things, which means winning games like that.
Yeah,
And but the other stories here: Western Kentucky 4-0, New Mexico
yeah,
State maybe a slightly deceptive 4-0. They've only played two D1 games. They were
yeah.
New Mexico and Sanford. They're
A
both at
big game
home.
against
They
Irvine.
haven't played
That's
it. They haven't played a road game yet. They do play Irvine tonight as we
yeah.
record this. So
That's going on right now. As soon as Murray State GW is over, I'm going to flip that one on.
okay. Let's see if we get an update on the score here. If you want to address anybody else in
Yeah.
this conference real quick here, Griggs. I don't know if there's anybody else that really has stood out to me besides those top three teams on that list there, though.
No, a little bit. I mean, yeah, those top three, Kennesaw might be worth paying attention to, but other than that, no one's really shown out the way those three have.
Halftime as we record this, by the way, New Mexico State is up six on Irvine, but by a thrilling 26-20 game.
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
not recommend going to that game.
yeah, offensive explosion, and
Uh, rest of the upcoming schedule here, we've got Western Kentucky Vanderbilt, probably over your heads. Uh,
probably. But if you want to do something that's hard to do that would impress the committee, this is Western Kentucky's chance.
this is part of that they are in the battle for Atlantis. They could get a VCU or South Florida. So there's a couple games they could have in the second and third games here that could be interesting. Even
Yeah,
if they lose to Vanderbilt and they lose to St. Mary's, as we expect they will, on
yeah,
if they somehow got to St. Mary's.
right, yeah.
I expect they'll be on opposite sides of the bracket as St. Mary's because St. Mary's should win tomorrow, and uh,
Mhm.
Vanderbilt and Western Kentucky should not. Uh,
Yeah.
Liberty's upcoming games, just the final game of this event they're in. Uh, keep an eye on that as well. Over to the Horizon League.
Oh,
Um,
oh, yeah. There
you
has
know what?
been,
They had a very good day yesterday and today. They have not lost a game, although Oakland is struggling at Montana as we record this. But so a little bit of a bounce back couple of days here.
yeah, Youngstown State had some good moments early, but they played a tough road schedule, and while they won some games that were impressive, they also lost one or two that you would have expected them to be able to win. I still think Oakland is swinging way over their heads. They're doing that by design. They're doing it for money. And I know that they're out at Montana, but this is a team that has had moments of showing that they can compete against some really high level teams. IU Indy, very entertaining team, doesn't win a lot.
I'll tell you what, Griggs, I got to give a shout out here, and I
Okay,
hate doing this. Uh, let's talk a little about Doug Gottlieb's Green Bay team.
won today, beat UMass.
They played real tight against Yale in the in the quarterfinals of the Paradise Jam. They did lose that game, but then they ended up beating both Iona. I'm sorry, both UMass and Iona back to back to finish in the fifth place, or I think they call it the
Yeah,
fourth place in that event. That's they won two out of three games in their MTE event. That's respectable.
it is, and that is a good Iona team that they beat. I was stunned that they won that game. And as much as we hate to do it, and as little sense as it makes after seeing what they were a year ago, uh, I mean, you got to give a fair assessment. Doug Gottlieb has made this team better. They are better noticeably than they were last year, or somebody has. Maybe not him, but somebody on his staff has.
uh, Upcoming games here in the Horizon League, real quickly. Uh, I, yeah, Green Bay's hosting Haskell. They should win another game. How about that?
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, not a whole lot
Uh,
of excitement. What's next?
that's next. Let's keep things rolling here. Let's go over to the Metro. I'm sorry, the Ivy League first before the Metro Atlantic Ivy League. Yale lost that game, lost the home game to Rhode Island. little bit surprising when they did it. It's almost a week ago now, but bounced
Yeah,
back. Did beat Akron to Charleston and Green Bay, Charleston, and Akron to win that Paradise Jam.
yeah.
Real good game against Akron there on Monday night too.
Yeah, that was a really good game. Yale, a very good team. You mentioned the home loss to Rhode Island. I was kind of surprised. In fact, like I didn't necessarily think they blew it. It was one of those games that made me think maybe Rhodey's a little bit better than I thought because when you look at what Yale's done, aside from the 6-1, you're pulling them up here. Akron at Quinnipiac. Quinnipiac, a pretty good team. It's not easy to win there. Went to Navy.
At Navy, that's
Yeah,
Navy. Navy, we still think is going to be in there in the Patriot League.
yeah. Navy probably won't lose too many games. So for the Rhodey loss to be their only one, I mean, this is a team that's probably going to have a very, very bloated record when the season ends, and who knows where they're going to be in terms of
I think
sitting
they're
on
head and
selection.
shoulders above the rest of the Ivy League. They could literally go
Yes,
13-1 in this conference.
yeah, they
Um,
could. Yeah,
Look at the rest of the non-conference. At Vermont might be their toughest winnable game left. They got two
yeah,
non-D1s, UIC, Albany, at Alabama. Let's not get over our heads. And a game at Howard
right.
coming up in February too. But yeah, they may only lose two more games this season at
They
Alabama,
very well
and
could.
one. And I could see one upset there in the Ivy League. Some, they always lose. They
Yeah,
always lose one.
they're one of a few under the radar teams. High Point being another, McNeese possibly being another when we get to them, where you just look at the rest of their schedule and you're like, I'm not seeing any losses. I'm not seeing other than Alabama any games where they're probably not going to be favored. Columbia for the second year in a row having an amazing November. We saw it last year. I think they were 13-1 going in the conference play, and they won one game the rest of the way.
They got games at Fairfield hosting Sarah Lawrence. Just Sarah showing
Yeah.
up on her own.
All
The
right.
rest of the team they're going to be too. Uh,
Yeah.
Yale this week. We mentioned that game at Vermont. That's actually a good game on Sunday.
Yeah, it's real
Uh,
good.
uh, Metro Atlantic Conference.
Oh.
Iona, they had that double overtime win over Oregon State, but I don't know that Oregon State is really much of anything this year,
They,
unfortunately for them.
they are not. Oh
So,
my God.
but maybe we should talk about Quinnipiac
Yeah,
winning
I
that
think we
game at
should.
Pittsburgh. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Griggs, talk some Quinnipiac.
Yeah, well, Pittsburgh is even more atrocious than Oregon State, I think, but still a really nice win for them today. And I know they lost today, but they were in that game at UCF for a lot of it. It wasn't until
They were up most
they
of
were
that game.
up for a lot of that game, probably more than half the game, and it wasn't until late that UCF finally got control of it. It was just a really good effort. UCF pretty good, especially at home, and I know Iona is probably the favorite. Manhattan is another story, teams that we were looking at, but Sacred Heart, big expectations, kind of disappointing so far. Uh, but Quinnipiac, and we kind of like them in the preseason, has probably shown out more than anyone.
I will tell you one of the teams that almost showed out this week.
Yeah.
Mount St. Mary's.
Oh, yeah.
I know they're 1-6. I know they're the bottom of the list here, but let's look at these losses and let's look what happened a week ago at Maryland. 95-90
In
overtime
overtime. Yeah.
loss. They had a real shot to pull off a stunner in that game.
I think they had a second half lead over Cincinnati as well. So,
Uh, Rest of the upcoming schedule here in the conference. Not that certain what else we're going to really circle. If you want to talk a little Quinnipiac, they are going to be hosting Stonehill on
oh, the
Sunday.
Stoners coming to town.
Uh, let's keep moving. We'll move over to the MEAC next, and it's the MEAC, and it's
Yeah. Not a
November,
lot of
December,
D1
and we
win.
don't really do much other than talk about the fact that the conference exists at this time of year, unfortunately for them.
Yeah, getting paid a little bit. Norfolk State still the preseason favorites. It's really hard to tell how good anyone is.
I have
Eastern
a
Shore winning a couple games.
Eastern Shore has actually had a lot of life this year. Uh,
Yeah,
they they could have won that event. They were in that game against Canisius. They lost it. They didn't beat Binghamton the next night. Uh,
yeah,
and Coppin State, who's looked atrocious so far this year, just tonight picked up a road win at Ryder. Maybe an indictment
which
on
is
Ryder,
amazing.
but I didn't know. I thought Coppin State might be contending for a centenary award for the
I
worst
did
team in
too.
D1.
Yeah,
I
and
think
they may have just ruined their centenary chances.
I don't
You
think
can
anybody
win a game and win the centenary, but you can't win a road game.
you could not win a true road game and win the
Yeah,
centenary. I don't know that's ever happened.
I
So
don't think
congrats
it
to them.
has. Although we should have given it to Binghamton. I still think the year we gave it to Towson, we
That
got
that
it.
was 15 years ago, Griggs. Come
Yeah,
on,
yeah,
it's
I'm
time to
still
move
not
on.
over it. Yeah.
Uh, Eastern Shore hosting Gwynedd Mercy. Can they give East Carolina a battle on next Tuesday night?
Giving East Carolina a battle might not, probably not, but wow, East Carolina is just not very good.
Uh, St.
Maybe they
Mary's at
can.
Howard coming. I'm not going to play this St. Mary's and Notre Dame from Maryland game anymore. Not after the whole condom thing earlier tonight.
College of Notre Dame of Maryland.
Greg's talks of Missouri Valley Conference while I
Right.
figure out where we're going next.
Well, the team I liked coming into the year was Northern Iowa, and the team I like now is Northern Iowa. If you pull them up, you will notice, and it's hard to not point out, they are incredibly untested. South Dakota State was a decent win, but the Jackrabbits not all that good so far. I thought the win at UC Irvine was really good, but it turns out we already discussed them. Irvine a little disappointing so far, but they've still won all their games. I think that they're going to blast through San Jose State. I guess the question is, when are the tests? They go to St. Mary's. I don't think they can get that one. But this is a team that I think, while their profile doesn't show it, and while they haven't been on the road much, they're capable of playing at a really high level. Ben Jacobson, a really good coach. They have a really good roster. I'm kind of excited about them. I know there's other teams. Murray State right
Well,
now about to win a big game if they
before
hold
you
on for the last.
before
Yeah.
you go any further on this Northern Iowa thing, uh, they get they won their game today, which means they play the winner of San Jose State Tulsa tomorrow. That winner was Tulsa. That's a huge game tomorrow.
Oh, that is a
Northern
massive
Iowa
game.
and
Okay.
Tulsa. That's one to circle tomorrow in the championship of the Acrisure Holiday Invitational, one of about 500 Acrisure events that are going on right now.
Yeah. We got to talk Murray State.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, 4-3, not the best overall profile, but they did just get a big win against George Washington, who you and I think might be a fringe bubble team. Did it on a neutral floor, so they're 5-3 now, with one of the better wins that anyone's probably managed in the conference, unless I'm missing something.
Uh, if George Washington is as good as you think they
Right.
are at this point. But there we go. Just populated. Murray State up to 5-3. Beats George Washington tonight. We can go back to the other screen there. There you go. So now they have for today, a tier two win on the profile. Uh,
Hmm.
I think we got to give a shout out here to Belmont as well. They are
Yeah,
undefeated. They have not played anybody, but
they
they
have
are
not played
undefeated.
anybody.
Uh, they they do get Toledo tomorrow, not Troy. They get Toledo tomorrow.
Okay. So, a bit is sort of a bit of a test coming up for them. I like this league. I always like this league. But I don't know. I'm still, if you're asking me who I like the most, I still like this Northern Iowa team.
Uh, Here's the rest of the upcoming schedule. We mentioned that huge game tomorrow. That is Northern Iowa Tulsa. Circle that one, watch it again, watch it a third
Yeah.
time. Uh, Belmont at Charleston again. We mentioned that game earlier when we were talking about Charleston. Definitely worth circling there. And
Mhm.
how about on Tuesday? Moorhead and Murray State, a little old school OVC action.
Yeah,
That
a
was a
little.
huge rivalry back in the day. The old
It really
school
was,
OVC
and
days.
it was a huge rivalry, and it just seems like the games were always you always got sort of a crazy game when those two got together. I don't know. We'll get to Moorhead here in a little bit. We just watched Murray beat GW. They might blow Moorhead into the sun.
I didn't say Moorhead was any good by any
Yeah,
means. Let's talk
but it
Northeast
is an
Conference
old
before.
OVC rivalry. Yeah.
Let's talk a little NEC. Heading into the season, we're all about this LIU team, and they've been, decent so far. They picked up a nice win at Missouri State this past week.
Yeah.
Uh, I hate to do it as a Rutgers guy, but the conference has been your defending champions here. The Central Connecticut won
Yeah.
at Boston College easy earlier. beat my Rutgers squad by 13, and maybe their best win of them all was an incredible overtime win over Sacred Heart just last night.
Oh my God, what a game that was. And I was like tweeting it about it and I was doing it tongue in cheek. But then when it was over, I was like, this was as entertaining, maybe the most entertaining game of the day. It was just great. This is why we love this conference, Chad. It was on NEC Front Row. If you haven't downloaded it yet, you need to do it immediately. It's a free app. The production quality is good. And it was just like you were watching it. The football team was behind the basket. Like what? There was nothing more fun to watch. On
And they
it was
and
awesome.
they won the game on a slam with
Yeah,
half a second left in overtime. It was
yeah.
it was a great play,
And
honestly.
yeah, had I been able to been in any game yesterday, I would not have been at the Players Era. I would have been at Central Connecticut at that game in that environment. It was
Uh,
just incredible. That's why we love
upcoming
this league.
upcoming after a game against Johnson and Wales, they got at Seton Hall, which is now
Interesting, all of a
interesting.
sudden.
Now they may be in trouble that game now the way Seton Hall's
Yeah,
been playing out in Maui. At Northeastern, at Binghamton, both winnable games. Uh,
yeah,
Fairfield game and then into conference play.
yeah. And one of the games they lost, they were in that UMass game. So they've had a really good year since that opening loss to Quinnipiac.
Uh, Upcoming schedule here. Talk about Central Connecticut first of all, just that Johnson and Wales game, but also look at Long Island. They're hosting Winthrop on Tuesday. I mentioned that game earlier.
Yeah,
That's a
that we've
game I
already
will be
mentioned. That's a
circling.
good game. Yeah, it's a week from
Uh,
tonight. It's
we hinted at the OVC earlier. Here is the OVC. The UT Martin bubble may have burst after that great start. Uh,
surprisingly
that
so.
they barely beat Prairie View, 1 point
Yes.
win, and then they lose to Southern Miss, and maybe it was just it wasn't real. Maybe it was
Well,
fake.
well, yeah, and if you pull them up here, let's assess this because it is a little bit interesting. They went to UNLV and won, and you're thinking, okay, just their night. Then they went to Bradley and won, and you're thinking, man, that was not a fluke. Those are two really big road wins. Since then, UNLV and Bradley have been, what's the nice way of saying they're not as
Awful.
good as, yeah, okay, there it is, awful. They went to Florida State and lost, but were like, with about 10 minutes to go, they were right in there. And it's like, okay, it's Florida State, that's sort of a heavyweight. And then they barely beat Prairie View, and you're like, okay, off night. And then that score in that Southern Miss game, Chad, like I watched it, that was as close as they were they were not within 13 for much of that game. It was the margin was more like 20. Southern Miss blew them out.
Yeah,
And
this is
wow.
concerning for now. The good news for
Yeah.
Martin is they are in the OVC, and
Right.
see,
Yeah.
SEMO might have a little bit of something. They're beating Cal Poly right now as we record this. You know, I I don't really know what else. Tennessee State actually, they as I mentioned, that score is wrong. They actually beat Asheville tonight, so maybe there's a little life there for
Yeah.
them. That was their first D1 win though. That's uh,
Right. And you still got four of the 11 teams, no D1 wins. Little Rock's been disappointing.
let's wait for
SIUE
conference
is
play. That's my
yeah, yeah, let's wait for
saying.
conference. Yeah.
Here's the rest of the upcoming schedule. If we wanted to look at what Martin's got coming up there this week, it's just Charleston Southern at home. Uh,
hmm They should win that one. So
Over to the Patriot League, where it is the Patriot League, and
yeah.
maybe a shout out to BU picking up a win over Harvard, and Navy beats NJIT, who had a couple wins already in this season, but
hmm
this was not a very good week for the Patriot League, in all
No,
honesty.
and it's going to kind of struggle. Boston getting a couple beanpot wins. That game against Harvard was actually a fun game to watch.
Colgate had a double overtime game against Cornell this past week, but
Yeah.
did not pick up the win in that one.
hmm
Uh,
So
and here's the upcoming schedule. How about tomorrow night? The Battle of Worcester, Worcester State at Holy Cross.
okay, yeah. Holy Cross might have a chance to do something they don't do very often, and that's score more points than their opponent. Um,
And Colgate, give a shout out to them. They are going up to somewhere in Canada to play SUNY Oneonta.
Was Rocco involved in putting that one together? I'm
And,
not kidding.
and then
He may have
Fordham,
actually. Yeah.
I think they only ended up with three D1 schools, so they had to invite up a couple of non D1 schools up to complete the field there at this
Yeah.
at the Northern Classic there.
Hmm.
Unfortunately,
So
they just couldn't get teams this year for that event.
yeah, GW going to Army. That's interesting. I didn't notice that until just now.
Yes, so
Oh yeah.
keep out for that one Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Um, Over to the SoCon, the I guess East Tennessee State actually has looked pretty good so far,
Yeah, they have.
which is not good news for the ASUN. Remember, the championship game will be Central Arkansas and East Tennessee State for the ASUN SoCon championship, but
Yeah,
ETSU up to a fun
Chattanooga
one.
was the team I think we were most excited about coming into the year. But if you pull up East Tennessee State here, 4-1 against D1 opponents, a lot of this was home cooking, although they did go to North Alabama and win. Um, but still kind of under, while they have the best record, they also have a loss at Presby, who's terrible. And um, I don't know. I think they will beat Central Arkansas, and then they've got Dayton is probably over their head. But that game against South Alabama, that might be their first like test against somebody that's their equal.
Yeah, I think that's a fair statement.
Yeah.
Um,
Is there anybody else? VMI really fun to watch. I know that they were kind of one of your dark horses. What do you think of them being 1-5 so far?
well, you know what? They were in the game against Buffalo, and we started off the show praising
Yeah, they
Buffalo.
were they
So,
were in that game.
I'm not. I think I never thought that they'd be great in non-conference. Let's see what happens in conference play. That's what you
Yeah.
got to say for a lot of these teams here. Upcoming this week, mention that VMI team. They've got Bowling Green and a road trip to UCF. If they can just split those games, that's a great week for VMI,
Oh, that is an
honestly.
amazing week for them. Yeah.
And ETSU, we mentioned what their games are that are coming
Yeah.
up as well.
Wofford, we alluded to this earlier. They had the issue with the coach leaving very late and the players. They just had a lot of turmoil. I don't want to unpack it, but they had a very tumultuous offseason, wouldn't you say? 3-2. Good on those kids and those coaches for bouncing back after all of that when it looked like that thing was just going to fall off a cliff.
Yeah, but here they are. They won at Bellarmine. They've beaten
Yeah.
Milwaukee in North Florida. Kevin Giltner took over here. Is good so far. 4-2 on this
Yeah.
career.
Hmm. Yeah.
Tough games at NKU at AKU this coming week. So that's a
Yeah. Big week on the road.
uh,
Taking a tour through Kentucky, I guess.
Southland Conference.
Oh boy.
Uh, you know,
Two really good teams. And I know there's a lot of stories. If Rocco was here, we'd be 30
I don't know.
minutes just
I
on
don't
this
know
one.
what two teams you're talking about as two really good teams because I think there's four or five really good teams in this conference. Quite honestly, Griggs.
Well, okay, well let's start off with McNeese, who just blew through the what tournament was it? It was Murray State, GW, them, and somebody else. Uh, I'll know it here in a second. Oh,
Was
middle.
that Cancun?
It was the Cayman Islands.
Cayman Islands. I knew it was one of
Yeah.
those. Yeah.
So winning all three of the games down there, doing so rather decisively. The game today they kind of played with their food a little bit, but got it done. Their only loss, and I know that you're not as big on this team as I am, but the only loss being at Santa Clara, they have just looked really good. They've won away from home. You'd like to see them play fewer non-D1s, but I understand they have a hard time getting games. So that's one of the teams, and you look at the remaining out of conference schedule. Actually, conference play getting underway next
The
week.
early conference play, they will jump out to play a road game at Michigan, but
Yeah, at Michigan they go to Rhodey, and so they're going to have some chances
I think we
at
have it
some
elongated. I
scouts.
think we have a 22 game conference schedule here in the Southland, so it's a
Yeah, and
full
a
double
lot
round robin.
of the Southland likes to open conference play before the students go home for winter break, just to get that environment with the students there. And yeah, I knew where you were going next. I love this team as well, this SFA team.
SFA, I don't know that they've really proven it to me yet. I don't know that winning Choo Choo Road games is great.
Yeah,
Pepperdine and Rice, maybe not so much. Uh, and they lost the game at Fresno, and maybe Fresno has a little bit more this year, but I came into the season thinking Fresno was probably the worst team in the Mountain West. Well,
I
maybe
did too. Yeah,
second worst after Air Force. But
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I did too. Yeah, behind Air Force, I thought that they were. Arkansas State, pretty good though, and they won that one big.
and we saw Abilene Christian had no life at all today, so I don't
Yeah,
know. I think my jury's still out for you for an SFA. I got two other
yeah,
teams I think are really good though.
yeah.
First of all,
And New Orleans, I knew
New
you were
Orleans. I
going
get
there.
they only won two games, but they won at Tulane, won at TCU, and took
Look,
Mississippi State to overtime.
had that game won. I mean, man, they had that one won.
They also lost at Fresno, so I guess I gotta eat that. I just criticized SFA for losing to
Yeah,
Fresno, but uh,
but yeah, has not played at home yet, and isn't until Houston Christian comes to town in that conference opener. They go to Texas Tech and to Memphis. But
uh,
really, yeah, but really going on the road, really, in NIL kind of built schedule, and they're getting that they're using those road bye games to help get good players, but they have a good team.
I also I like this team heading into the season. Do not overlook them. This Lamar team, they lost at TCU. They lost to an Oakland team who's way better than 321 in the nation. I think we can agree on that.
Yeah.
And they just picked up a win a couple of nights ago at Montana. True road
hmm
win against a team that's probably going to be near the top of the Big Sky standings.
Yeah, and that might be one of the better wins that anybody in the conference has managed outside of like McNeese and their three wins down in the Caymans.
So I think this is going to be a fun Southland
Oh,
Conference this
Uh, mo-
season.
I have not said this in my entire life. I am excited for Southland play.
I think you're right that this may be one of the most exciting Southland conferences so far from what we've
Yeah.
seen
And we've
in a
had
long time.
great teams from the Southland. Stephen F. Austin making the round of 32 multiple times. Sort of was in a situation that McNeese is in now where they couldn't get anyone to play them. McNeese, round of 32 a year ago, very, very good. Who else have from this league? Well, Northwestern State's had some good teams, although it was
Northwestern
a long
State,
time ago.
yeah. But
Yeah.
there have been. It tends to be that there's a team
Yeah, there's
that's really
a
good.
team that blows through the league and leaves everybody else in the dust. But this year it's got parity and it's got multiple good teams.
We've got the upcoming schedule for this week here. We mentioned that New Orleans at Texas Tech game. Uh, Xavier hosting Corpus Christi.
Yeah,
SFA at Texas Arlington, and Lamar hosting Our Lady of the
of the
Lake.
league. Oh,
McNeese at Incarnate Word. That is a little early conference action coming up here just
yep.
within the next week.
hmm
Uh, Griggs over in the SWAC.
Yeah. Um, I still like this Alabama State team. I'm still baffled that they did not beat Air Force in that game. But there's been some other teams that have had some good showings too. I know you kind of want to talk a little Alabama A&M, somebody that I didn't think would be anywhere near the top, but
Uh,
two big wins so
I,
far.
they've two wins so far, but yeah, I
Yeah.
mean it is too early. Bethune-Cookman is actually who I thought I would discuss.
Okay, yeah.
They had that nice win at Ohio. I was very high on them. They were in Daytona hosting an event, not hosting, but in their home city for a four-team
Yeah.
event this week, and they finish in fourth place, losing both to Jacksonville and Stony Brook today. So,
Yeah, and
you know,
kind of
this,
disappointing
yeah,
results there, because you figured that those were games that were winnable for them.
I thought it was rough that they lost the first game. I really thought they'd beat Stony Brook today,
Yeah,
and
I did too. Yeah.
that was not that good. Um, I guess the only thing I do is keep giving shout outs to Mississippi Valley State here. They have been in their games a lot
Yeah.
more. Not tonight at Texas A&M with the getting
Yeah.
blown out, but they were in the game against Bakersfield for a while. They
Yeah.
have more life this year than we've seen in a long time.
And a lot of personality with that team, at least around the supporting cast of that team.
Uh,
How
I,
much fun would it be to see Mississippi Valley, a perennial, like they've won more centenaries than I think anybody else. How fun would
I
it be to see them
actually
do something?
they've only won it once. But they've been
Oh,
in
they
the
haven't only
final
won
run.
once. Okay,
But
yeah,
they've been in the running a lot of times. Uh, Arkansas
yeah.
Pine Bluff, on the other hand, who was horrendous
Oh
last year,
boy,
has been equally horrendous this year and maybe on the
yeah,
way to being in that centenary award for the worst team in D1.
yeah,
Uh, Upcoming schedule this week. Bethune is at Indiana over their heads, obviously.
yeah.
Alabama A&M's at Coastal Carolina.
See, anything else. Prairie View,
Grambling at
Texas.
Tulane.
Grambling at Tulane. A little
Uh,
Louisiana.
let's go through the last couple conferences here. Summit League.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
I
Griggs. This is all you.
Well, I still like the Tommies. I think that they're an incredible story, getting kicked out of their conference in D3 for being good, being permitted to transition all the way up from 3 to 1. I don't think anybody's ever done that. They've completed the transition a year early due to new rules, and the Yotes have looked good at times. South Dakota State, you never want to overlook those teams. But has anybody looked better than St. Thomas? I don't think
Yeah,
they have.
you know what? St. Thomas looked a little iffy the first few weeks. This week, I think they really established themselves. That win over that really
Yeah,
good Northern Colorado team, and then winning a road game at Portland. I think St. Thomas is starting to come around, and this team
I do too.
may run through this conference. Honestly, although
Yeah.
we got to give a shout out to Denver, wins the Front Range game at Colorado State.
That was a really big win from a team that has not done anything ever. I don't think.
Uh, but again, I'm with you that the Tommies are the team to watch all season here. They're only going to be hosting Lawrence this week. I don't know what that's
It's
about.
they may be one of those programs that actually tries to create holidays for their players. I don't know.
South Dakota State's going to be playing UC Irvine tomorrow. Denver at Wyoming in a Front Range game. We mentioned that
Yeah.
earlier.
Hmm.
Uh, Sun Belt Conference.
Woohoo! Oh,
Uh,
about South Alabama.
how about South Alabama? Let's look a little USA basketball here.
Yeah, lots of wins away from home. Now, granted, Central Michigan, Coppin State, some of these aren't that impressive, but going to Jack State getting the win, going to Toledo getting the win, this is
Yeah,
just a team that they've played in games that were hard to win. Went to UAB. I thought they were going to win that game. I guess I just don't have a lot of faith in UAB, but they battled. That's their only loss.
yeah, no, I'm with you. I think this South Alabama team is has looked good so far. You know, Marshall is 5-1 as well.
Hmm.
Obviously, we have the whole Troy story with their West
Yes.
Coast trip, double overtime win at San Diego State, loss at Loyola Marymount, loss at Northridge, and then that incredible game at USC that they really had won at the end of the third overtime there. Uh,
Yeah.
we talked about last night. We were talking USC, so you can go back and watch that if
Well,
you want to.
to revisit it, the Monday morning quarterbacks on Twitter were criticizing Troy for the way they ended the game, and I just think, let me just ask you a question. You can point to anything. There's examples of anything and everything going wrong. We've seen half quarter shots, 3/4 shots go in. Uh, if you had your choice of inbounding the ball with 7 seconds to go and being able to run a set play, or having to come up with a loose ball with 4 seconds to go, 3/4 away from, 3/4 down the court, about 70 feet from the basket, and having to haphazardly get up a shot, which would you choose?
I would choose. I mean, the only reason I would choose the former Griggs is if you tell me that he had held onto the ball and they'd made both free throws. And
Yeah,
the reason why I would choose that is because if they get that same miracle shot, they don't lose the game. They go
right.
to a fourth overtime.
Yeah. So, and again, you can play the logistics all day long, but if he holds onto the ball and gets fouled, he has to make both the free throws for that to happen. They were ahead, they were up one. I thought what they did, there's a reason we're still talking about that shot.
Mhm.
We've seen full court plays in last second
I,
shots.
I,
That was a
I
ridiculous. They
think it,
couldn't do. Yeah.
even though he turned it over, I think it was the right move to try to throw the ball down the court and
Yeah,
run
I
out
do
the clock
too.
at that point. So
Yeah. Because I mean, you see last second shots every day that go in. You never see something like that.
that was
I mean,
one of the
yeah,
craziest last second shots I've seen all season. There was one in the women in a women's game where she literally
yeah,
threw it over her shoulder and somehow went in. But that's a
yeah.
uh, different story here.
Like
Quick note
if they
here.
did that, yeah, if they tried to do that 20 times, they might do it once.
Quick note that TBD for Troy tomorrow is St. Francis, by the way.
Yeah,
So
so
not much of a
D3
game for them
opponent.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Let's There's the rest of the. Oh, there's a lot of scores there. I'll show them all on the screen here for anyone that wants to see them. But upcoming schedule for the Sun Belt. I don't know that what I'm really circling here. Maybe pay attention to South Alabama at UTSA and playing New Mexico State on Tuesday. That's probably one of the better games of
Yeah,
the caliber. Yeah.
James Madison has a tough road game at George Mason on Saturday. Mason playing pretty well. Um, again, and you mentioned South Alabama going to UTSA.
Uh, Western Athletic Conference, last but not least, and this was the game that was not televised. It was California Baptist San Diego. California Baptist
Yeah,
won the game, and this is what I was thinking of earlier when we were talking about UCSD. How about this
and,
California Baptist team now 6-0, and
and
they've won at Irvine. They just beat San
yes, they
Diego on
did.
a neutral court. Although I think
They've
it
looked
was actually
good.
in San Diego. Actually,
Yeah,
so it was almost a true road game because it was in San Diego. But
yeah. I think that I don't have any faith at all at Oregon State. Not only do I think they can win that one, I'm almost expecting them to do it. It gets a little hard after that, going to Colorado, BYU, and Utah.
I
Utah
think
not very good though.
Colorado not very good.
Yeah,
BYU is good.
BYU is yes. BYU is protected seed good and maybe high protected seed.
I could see two wins in these next four. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
two wins in these next four games here.
And that would be incredible to go on a road trip like that and get two of those wins. They certainly looked better than most of well, than anybody else in the WAC. Tarleton State is getting better. They're a tough defensive team, but I just don't think they're as good all around as Cal Baptist. To be honest, I don't think anybody is.
I think the other team I'm looking at is actually this
You,
Utah Valley team.
yeah,
Knights went today over South Dakota State. They beat UC Irvine earlier. I'll pull them up here real quick. That's all they've been so far. A loss to Boise, a loss to Fresno. Wow, I got to look at Fresno again next week. Maybe they're
yeah,
pretty good. They beat all these under the radar schools.
yeah. Well, they're beating teams. We didn't think they would do that.
Uh, but yeah, so that's the other team is Utah Valley that I'd be looking at this so far this season.
Mhm.
Upcoming schedule real quick here. Uh, Utah Valley plays Samford tomorrow.
Some
Not last year's Samford team, this year's. And
not 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 remotely. Yeah.
of course, California Baptist, two big games at Oregon State and at Colorado.
Mhm.
Uh, that's it for our regular conferences. How about a quick look through some mythicals?
Yeah, we got a lot of action going on in one of them in
Front
particular.
Range.
There's
How
the
about
Front Range.
Denver with the sole win so far in Front Range play? And we
Yeah,
do
but
have
it's
a
a
couple
busy
games
week
coming up
coming up. Look at all that.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Double Front Range action tomorrow. Look at that.
Yeah.
Uh, the Beehive Conference.
Oh,
Utah State and Utah tied for the lead here.
hmm
So far, they've both beaten Weber, but no games coming up this week.
Yeah. Utah. Boy, are they disappointing.
Uh, Back Range Conference, Arizona and New Mexico State tied for the lead here. Did not have
Yeah.
any games this week, or
Mhm.
nothing this next coming week. We got to get some back range action going.
Yeah, I know.
At the top range, Idaho and Boise tied.
Yeah, and Idaho with the big win. Who did Boise beat? Oh, what? Montana State. Okay.
Yeah, Boise beat Montana State. Geez, we're just not getting any games this week though.
Yeah,
Hey, how
I
about
mean
one
it's
that we do? We've got some games. In fact, we've got a game going on right now as we record this. Out in Maui, there is a game going on in the Conference of Champions as Washington State and Arizona State are close in the second half.
how is
Um,
Wazoo close in that one? I mean, they've
uh,
looked utterly pitiful.
it is actually, I'll put the score here. It's 82-78 Arizona State over Wazoo. So
Yeah.
good that by them that's appearing twice on the screen there for some reason. Um, but three-way tie, Arizona, Oregon, and Washington so far. And UCLA and Cal have just tipped as well. It's another front range game, another
Yeah.
Conference Champions game. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Uh,
Cal, I don't, Cal with a pretty good record against a weak schedule, so this is a good chance for them to move up in the conference of cha The thing is, this is just so implausible. I mean, we would never see a league like this.
USC, Oregon, Utah, Cal coming up during the week as well here. So we've got a couple more of these Conference of Champion games coming up.
Yeah.
Uh,
When is USC Oregon? It's a, that's a
Tuesday.
that, okay. Didn't realize the Big
That's
Ten was getting started.
Yes, Big Ten is starting this coming
Oh,
week.
okay.
I'm sorry, Conference of Champions is continuing
Conference
this week.
champion.
You're in the
Yes.
wrong
Okay.
show, Griggs.
Yeah.
Uh, Under the radar top 10. Uh, let's start with the honorable mentions. Let's not start with number one. Uh,
Yeah.
Winthrop, Western Kentucky, Towson, Troy, New Mexico State, Tennessee Martin, Central Connecticut, Belmont, and Marshall, all getting a little bit of love in our top 10 poll here that you and I voted
Yeah.
on.
There's a lot of good under the radar teams this year.
This Western
No,
Kentucky team is really good. Troy, Central Connecticut getting a little bit of love, but they've got too
yeah,
many losses, I think, to be in the top 10.
yeah,
At number 10, it is Northern Colorado
yeah.
out of the Big Sky
Good team.
Conference.
Yeah.
At number 9, California
Cal
Baptist, we just
Baptist. I'm glad
discussed
to
them.
see them up there.
At number 8, how about Miami,
Oh, how
Ohio?
about the Red Hawks?
We had a three-way tie for fifth between Yale, Northern Iowa,
Northern Iowa, yeah, and
and how about
Buffalo way
Buffalo?
up in the ranking. Yeah.
Buffalo getting into the under the radar top 10. We never expected to see that this season.
No, I didn't.
At number 4, McNeese.
Yeah,
Uh,
a really good showing. Just won their event today.
at number 3, Liberty, still up
Yep,
there.
still up there.
At number 2,
High
High Point.
Point, wow. And number
At,
one.
at number 1, drum roll please. The Tritons of UC San Diego. They spent a good portion of last season up here too at number 1, I believe.
Yeah, they
So
did.
how
And
about
off to
this
a
San Diego?
really good start. Yeah. Well, yeah, and I mean, we talked about him when we talked about the Big West. Just a really good story for that whole program.
I guess on that note, Griggs, do you have any other final thoughts to finish off the show here?
No, just to everybody that's out there, I hope everybody has a safe and happy Thanksgiving, and enjoys whatever they're doing. If they're not doing anything, then just do what we do, binge on college basketball.
It is a great day for college basketball. I know there's some people like to watch football games. That's why you need two TVs in your house.
Yeah.
Yes, have a great Thanksgiving, everybody. We will be back next week, back on our normal schedule of Wednesday night for Under the Radar. But we will talk to you again real soon.